Hey, ChewyLuck, this is Faithless Valor from Reddit. I took a look at your replay and think that I can help you out a little bit, and in doing so, I'm going to be doing a commentary. This is actually the first commentary I've ever done, so please bear with me. It might not be very good, but I'm giving it a try, and hey, we'll see. Now I play Terran. It's by far my favorite race. Now keep in mind that I am platinum only, so I'm not diamond. Take my word with a grain of salt. It's not nothing I say is necessarily canon or the truth. Just it's my perspective, how I think that you could improve. So let us begin. So you actually went the three racks, the three barrack strategy, and that's something that's actually my preferred strategy. But you do it slightly slower than I think it needs to be effective. Your first couple things are perfectly fine. You get that initial SCV out. Now this is actually going to be a little bit of a nitpicky thing, but just in terms of making this as efficient as possible. The opening I've found is pretty damn good, and so let's walk you through that. At this point, I like to have you have the 50 minerals. I like to have that extra SCV in there now, just cause it's not a big deal. So let's see. You get your ninth made, and you have. I like to put another SCV in the queue. You send that SCV out now when you've got. That's actually it's not a bad time to send it out. I would have sent it out a little bit later, not that much. What I like to do is have that extra SCV in the queue there, and then when you have 50 minerals, go out. You went when you probably had about 30 or so, as opposed to that 50. So you went a little bit early, but that's that's just nitpicky. That's just to get optimal results. The timing works out perfectly if you do that. You'll get here and you'll have 100 minerals, and bam, you'll put it down. Now, the first problem that happens is once this SCV is done being built, you do not make another one for quite a while, quite some time, and that just stays stagnant. That is not a good thing. Continually make SCVs. Even though you looks like you wanted to save that 150 minerals for that barracks, wait a little bit. Get that SCV out. Continually producing SCVs is more important than getting that early barracks out. And especially getting that refinery out. You got both a barracks and a refinery before you started making another SCV. Don't do that. You are way behind where you want to be in terms of your SCV production. At least one or two. Now, you have one SCV on gas. That's a little bit of a waste. Then again, you're kind of SCV starved. You would optimally at this point like to have 14 or 15 SCVs as opposed to the 12 that you have now. And once again, none are being made. You're doing nothing with this command center. Not a good thing. You bunk that off, which is good. That barracks is doing nothing. You should be at least making a marine. I like to have one marine out first with the bunking, just in case they send an early zealot or two. But you do the tech lab. That's also fine. It was a little bit slow, and you should definitely have another barracks being made right now. There's a tech lab, and there's the barracks. And now you're waiting to you get an orbital command, I suppose. Need more SCVs. Gotta have more SCVs. Let's take a look at your income. Oh yeah, so you are far behind in terms of income. You have 14 harvesters. He has 18. Look at that. Those are some ugly numbers. Barracks doing nothing. Want to keep making marauders. Need to keep making marauders. Still stagnant. Made that second barracks. If you're not going to make a something with that, you want to make a third barracks. You want to get 3 barracks out pretty quickly. Make that mule. Make SCVs good. still barracks doing absolutely nothing. There you go. You got building your tech lab. Now you've got your SCV here, which is good. You know, taking the Naga Watchtower is very good for map control and seeing what your opponent is doing. However, you have not taken a look at what he's doing. You don't know that he has a cybernetics core, which means that he is almost certainly teching to some sort. He's going stalkers, but if you had went in there and seen that cybernetics core before he had gotten those stalkers out, that would have been a very valuable piece of information for you to have had. Sorry. You should have had a third barracks out by now. You don't need a second refinery for a 3 racks build. Not this early. Minerals are going to be your biggest concern. You go out to scout. I wouldn't have scouted this late or even attacked with 4 marauders. They're going to get creamed by most things, and you don't really have anything in terms of defense. You get really lucky in that keeping this guy at the Zellnaga Watchtower is great in that you see the enemy incoming, and you're able to pull back in time. So it was very good that you had that there. Otherwise, he would have came in here and just wrecked you. In fact, it allowed you to flank him, which turned out vastly in your favor. Now, you go and you are going to chase these 2 stalkers down with your 3 marauders. First of all, stalkers are faster, so that's not necessarily a good strategy. And second of all, he's going back to his base. You're following him all the way back to his base, and at this time he is going to have a significant amount of reinforcements. Don't necessarily go to counter if they retreat. And now, especially since you're going to be going uphill, you are losing a line of sight advantage. He has the entire advantage here. Not only does he come back to his base to get reinforcements, but he has line of sight. You can't see him. You can only see him until you get right up here, and he can just start shooting you and going down. And there's the reinforcements, and there you go. I would not have attacked there. 3 marauders at this stage in the game is not going to do anything for you. Now, back at your base, you've been leaving your barracks completely empty. You want to keep making guys. Just continue. You have the minerals. You have the minerals. You're getting a 3rd barracks. That's good, but you need guys. Now, you get an expansion out early with a 3 racks. If you have the minerals, that's good, but hopefully you shouldn't have the minerals. Hopefully you're producing enough guys and enough supply depots that you're not going to have the money for a command center, an extra expansion. And you're a little bit supply capped, but I think that's about done. Barracks doing nothing. Want to get that reactor on there now. Now, I don't like the supply depot here. That's not going to provide vision. You need a unit there, and at some point he is going to come and take a look at that watchtower, especially if he's a diamond leaguer, and he's going to take that out, and that's just going to be a waste of 100 minerals, and may just screw you supply-wise if the timing's wrong. Now, I haven't really been looking in this replay at the right times, but your barracks for a lot of the times have been just empty and barren. Make sure you are always producing guys. Always. You've got money. Build another barracks. He knows at this point that you're going marauders, so you need to assume that he is going to try to counter that. There are 2 viable Protoss counters, 2 main ones to marauders. One is Colossuses or Colossi, and the other is Air. You are poor equipped for both of them, and you continue to be poorly equipped for both of them. You don't try to alter your strategy at all. Now you're this late into the game, and you only have this many marauders. It's a fair amount, but it's still a little scary. You'd still need more units, and once again you have all this money. Use it, spend it. Getting a factory here is good. It's good. You need to attack. You have way too much gas. Stop some of those guys making gas. Make more minerals. Make another barracks. Pump out as many marines. Pump many marauders as possible. If you're trying to make Marines Marauders a legitimate strategy, you need to overwhelm them with guys, especially late game, and it is getting to late game. Not making SCVs, not making SCVs at either of your bases, not a good thing. I like to actually put have a queue of 5 SCVs on both command centers, and just putting it as spawn point minerals right here. Now he's coming to attack. Oh, another thing about expansions on this map, particularly as Terran, I would not have expanded here. It's very vulnerable, and I rarely like doing expansions immediately close to my base unless I can defend it really, really well, which I guess you can, but on this level, there's an island base right here. And he would be able to do nothing unless he's going air. This is a great place to have an expansion as Terran. Just great. Lift off, boosh, right there. Anyhow. See, at this point, he has Colossuses or Colossi to counter your infantry, your bio. You're way too much bio right now, and they are just going to absolutely incinerate your forces up here. Your supply, you find yourself supply locked. I'd like to keep making supply depots. You're making engineering bay finally. But oh goodness, that's right. For this entire time, you had all your units just smack right here in the middle. Try and position your units around the corners to get a positional advantage. If you had been here when they had been walking, here, let's go back to that. Here they come. Yeah, if you had some guys stationed around here, you may have been able to get a couple of rounds off. But instead, all of your guys are right here in the middle. He is spread out and already in position with all of his range units to start just going to town, swarming and attacking. Now you, on the opposite hand, take a look at what happens. You slowly, one by one, take him out, and they just get... Those initial line gets owned. The second line gets owned. Wave after wave, and eventually he does a tactical retreat once again because he's taken out a significant amount of your forces. He runs away when you stim pack, just because, hey, why would he hit you when he's stim packing? And this was actually a huge mistake on his part, bringing this Colossus back, taking out his forces, splitting them apart, allowing you to actually take out a good couple of his units here. But that being said, when he regroups, his army is going to be stronger than yours. You should see that, particularly with those Colossus still in the fight, and you don't know how many more he's made in the time since. Going and attacking him now, not terribly wise. You lose your positional advantage up here. You go right into him where he's going to have regrouped into potentially reinforcements, which you are... Oh, okay, you are building reinforcements. That's good. Now, what you really should be doing, now that you know what he's going, Colossus, Stalkers, Zealots, Sentries, all ground. You are not trying to counter this in the slightest. Instead, what you're doing is sticking with your strategy, making Marauders, making a couple Marines. You have a starport out here. You have a factory out here. Use them. Make medevacs. Get a reactor out there. Make as many medevacs as possible. But more importantly, get a tech lab on that factory. Make siege tanks. The fact that he was only going ground units and Colossus, who is gonna use that range advantage to just take out your Marines and Marauders. Really, the first thing you should do